Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to warmly congratulate Mr. Days on his election as the President of the 65th session of the General Assembly and assure that Armenia will continue to bring its constructive contribution in its work. I would also like to thank the outgoing President, Dr. Treki, for his work during the previous session. Mr. President, 10 years ago, at the dawn of the new millennium, we affirmed our collective responsibility to uphold the principles of human dignity, equality, and equity at the global level, and identified those goals that should be achieved by each and every country by 2015 to have a more peaceful, prosperous, and just world for the coming generations. It was the uneven economic and social development that was considered to be our biggest challenge, with its dire implications on the overall security of a human being and the society as a whole. The later developments, when unprecedented security challenges overtook our agenda, once again exposed the truthfulness of the postulation development is freedom. Today, we are discussing how successful we have been in bridging the gaps and building on the progress made towards the achievement of the Millennium Development Goals. As noble and far-reaching as those goals are, certain geopolitical realities create impediments on the way to complete realization of those aims. When we embark on the last 5-year leg of our development commitments, we have to understand clearly all security implications of our actions, both nationally and internationally. The food and financial crisis of the last years made the increased interconnectedness and interdependence in today's globalized world more obvious. All countries were hit by their impact, and Armenia was no exception. Yet, despite all these difficulties, we continue to proceed steadily towards the realization of the Millennium Development Goals. Armenia embarked on their implementation by launching sound economic reforms and nationalizing the Millennium Development Goals by identifying 16 targets that corresponded to country-specific priorities, which emphasized the need for ensuring sustainable economic growth through reliance on competition, innovation, and equal opportunity for all. We have also promoted reduction in income differentials and equality in regional development through an in-depth reform of territorial administration, developing effective public governance, and continuing the fight against corruption. Furthermore, Armenia has exerted additional efforts on relevant programs by promoting education and science, strengthening the social security system, and expanding targeted programs with a focus on healthcare, pensions, and gender equality. The international community would be able to succeed in its goals set for 2015 only through concerted and coordinated efforts. This is the path to follow in all parts of the world, including our region. However, the overall regional situation does not allow for the full utilization of all economic advantages of South Caucasus. The existing resources are being diverted away from the development goals. Closed borders and continuing blockade of Armenia by two of its neighbors curtails the faster development opportunities both nationally and regionally. The record of the last 20 years clearly demonstrates what Armenia has been stating all along. There is no possibility of comprehensive development of any of the countries of the South Caucasus at the expense of the others, and the creation of dividing lines will be devastating for the region, increasing the risks for its instability. Regional cooperation is the only viable path to pursue, and we have been advocating for strong regional cooperation schemes. In this regard, open borders, criss-crossing lines of communications, and interrelated economic systems are crucial. Yet, this is a concept that has yet to gain ground and understanding in some of our neighbors' policies and approaches. Recognizing that security and development are so closely intertwined in the Millennium Declaration, governments pledge to spare no effort to free peoples from the scourge of war, whether within or between states. In that context, proliferation of arms and weapons continues to pose a threat not only to peace and security, but also and increasingly to economic and social development. It is unfortunate that our region faces that danger. Azerbaijan continues to reject the proposal to come to an agreement on non-use of force or threat of force. This goes against the underpinning principles of the United Nations, the organization whose founders came together to save the succeeding generations from the scourge of war. Today, we witness militaristic stance, multifold increase of military budget, war rhetoric, and provocations masterminded by that country, which create obstacles to the establishment of lasting peace and stability in the region, a precondition for prospective development. Mr. President, while we register our accomplishments and share our concerns, there are people that fall through the cracks of the international community's attention. The people of Nagorno-Karabakh do their best to provide for better living and protection of all human rights in their territory. Yet, they do it without the support of the international community. Nagorno-Karabakh has yet to await for relevant assistance programs. Unless we learn to undo the harm caused innocent people here and there by our inaction, we would not be in a position to report that all Millennium Development Goals have been achieved and that equality and equity at the global level have been attained. Mr. President, with the adoption of the outcome document on the high-level plenary meeting on Millennium Development Goals, we do hope to bridge the gaps in our development agendas, boost our efforts towards overcoming the challenges on the path to the full realization of the Millennium Goals, and steadily chart our way to a better, secure, and prosperous future. Pursuant to the resolution of the General Assembly, today we mark the International Day of Peace, which is devoted to commemorating and strengthening the ideals of peace, both within and among all nations and peoples, and is observed as a day of global ceasefire and non-violence. On this special day, the Republic of Armenia also marks its Independence Day. In light of the importance of today and the sense of the added duty that it places on us, I would like to state that Armenia is determined to positively contribute towards the achievement of our common noble goals of peace, justice, liberty, and equitable prosperity. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the Minister for